Happy Labor Day. I thought I would put together a little Romeo reminiscence and Peach Festival thing. Today is the Peach Festival Parade. Some of the sources that I'm using for the Peach Festival is from this book, The Romeo Peach Festival, a little bit on it, and it's by David McLaughlin, author. And also talking about a rebellious time in the 70s. And my class was the last class of the 60s, but started the 70s. So this is going to be for those that graduated in 1970 and after. Some of the things I recall, I have my high school math book that Mr. Herline, my math teacher, used in class, along with the optional tables of logarithms and sines and cosine tables. See, back in those days, we used a slide rule. I got in trouble last year. I didn't get in trouble. It was at Port Huron High School, and I mentioned, I remember using slide rules, and we did. Even my first year in college, I used the slide rule. And the teacher said, "You're showing your age," or something like that. And I says, "I've earned every one of these white hairs, gray hairs." Anyway, and after my first year of college, I got a calculator. Not this one, but I bought a TI. This is Hewlett Packard. So the times they are changing. So what I thought I would start with is, this is part of my rebellious 70s decade, and I'm only part of it from January to June 1970 when I graduated. This is Totten's restaurant. Mr. Totten, their watering plants, opened it up after World War II. He was quite a known store owner, a restaurant owner in Romeo in the 40s, 50s, 60s. And my mom and I used to go to their restaurant. We sat in there. It had a beautiful player piano. And one of the things I saw by the mirror toward the front was a sign, "We reserve the right not to serve someone." That bothered me. I told my mother and talked to her, and I thought, is that kind of racial prejudice? I don't know. But I do know that blacks were not welcome in Mr. Totten's restaurant back in maybe the 40s. And they used to have to come to the back door to get food. Doesn't put a real good image of Romeo. But this went on all over the country. A&W. This was our end of Romeo. It's like leaving the A&W going south, and you're going into Washington territory, where I went to elementary school. We were the Washington kids until we were in junior high. Then we were the Romeo kids. Romeo Community Youth and Civic Center. I was a member every summer from grade school on to high school. We used to go out there for the summer. It's like being in school in the summertime, but only with fun activities. Going to Boblo Island, Edgewater Park. It's a story in itself. R.J. Brainerd was the director. He passed away. He was my friend on Facebook 3 or 4 years ago. Sad. He was a very nice guy. Orchard. This Southview Orchards doesn't exist anymore. Here's 3 of my classmates. Kathy Ebling, she's on Facebook. She's my friend on Facebook. She was going with Fred McLaughlin. I don't know whatever happened to him. And then Michael Hansen. He was my dentist, Dr. Hansen's son. I'll say hair was starting to grow longer. We weren't allowed to grow it real long, but we started to anyway. Our last year of high school, we were allowed to wear blue jeans in high school, our last year only, I recall. Other than that, we had to wear slacks. They could not be blue jean denim anyway. Actually, I think all three of these girls are my friends on Facebook. That was Jim Helen. I remember him. These guys, this is a little bit before the 70s. So this is like leading up to the hippie days. Not quite so. These are product of the 60s. Now this is after I graduated. I don't know the names, but he's got long hair. And Parish Health Youth Show. Thank you in the community. So we had places for teens could go and hang out. And this is at the high school again in the 70s. As you can see, the hair is getting longer and the pants are getting wider at the bottom. We call those bell bottoms. And at the high school during the 70s, they had an auto shop. We did not have an auto shop in the 60s. And not in 1970, but soon afterwards, we had an auto shop. I think this is either a very young teacher or a high school student in a chemistry class. Now that's a teacher. You can see the hair is getting longer. And some of my teachers, I had noticed looking at their pictures, they started getting their hair longer and more flashy clothes. I don't know the name of this teacher. He was not there when I was in high school. This is one of my favorite pictures of this slide section, and Sue Gillespie, and that is her present-day husband. I love this picture. Next one was going to be the, here we go, transitions. All right. Okay, the Peach Festival. I'll look at my notes a little bit on this. I had a video I put out. I should put the link up, maybe I will later, of this show that I put on in 2013 for the 175th anniversary. I will try to put the images I have up here on the link here. This was the Romeo resident Edward Jacobs, an attorney. He organized the first Peach Festival, which debuted Labor Day weekend 1931. And there is the Queen in her court in 1931. This is Virginia. Hello is seen here giving peaches and giving them to President Hoover in 1931. Look at the car. It's like engulfing her. That's a nice bushel of apples for our president at that time. And another old car from that era. This is, I believe, Miss Romeo. 1940, Miss Romeo. And 1941, Miss Romeo, Arlene C., I believe. Maybe this is it. I don't remember. Maybe if I got these wrong, let me know. I'll have pictures up. Maybe the names are there. And another one. This was maybe in this would be in 1946. These children are the boys dressed in a uniform. World War II has ended. There had been no Peach Festival from 1942 through 1945. So this was 1946. The children. So for those 42, 43, for 4 years, because of the war, we canceled the Peach Festival. Governor George Romney. His son is Mitt Romney, of course. I shook Governor Romney's hand. I remember he came and walked through Romeo during the Peach Festival. It was very common to have the governor. I don't know if we'll have any celebrities today. Someone have to tell me. Did anybody important come through Romeo's Peach Festival today? And this guy, Mr. Milliken, he was governor in the 70s. I saw him in the parade. He was always very cheery. Did not shake his hand. And I did not shake George Bush's hand, but my dad saw him in 2000 when he was campaigning and running against Al Gore, that famous election of 2000. This is over by the house on the bend. I think it's an insurance agency now, and I don't recall the name. But when you leave Romeo on the north end, go past the Congregational Church, and then you make that big curve to the left before you make it again right in town, that's where he was at. And he's petting, or he's not petting, the Romeo Bulldog mascot is there. These are pictures from like the 90s. I was there with our wife and son. We watched a parade. I think I got this from Facebook. Maybe it was my friend Debbie on Facebook. Had a couple pictures. They're pretty. That is it on the Peach Festival ones. And I will try to put these images up. Hopefully, this is my contribution for a holiday on the Romeo pages.